How to Pay for the Green New Deal by Yeva Nersisyan and Randall Wray. End the Forever Wars. Some advocates of the Green New Deal, including Senator Bernie Sanders, have proposed to end the forever wars. Footnote 17. Congress made history recently by passing a resolution that cuts off U.S. support for Saudi-led forces in the civil war in Yemen. This is the first time since Congress originally passed the War Powers Resolution in 1973 that we have used it to call on the President to withdraw from an undeclared war. It is time for Congress to ask whether, nearly 18 years after 9/11, we really want to continue to be involved in these wars for another 18 or more. According to a recent study by the Cost of War Project at Brown University, the war on terror will have cost American taxpayers almost $5 trillion through fiscal year 2019. When taking into account future health care obligations for veterans injured in post-9/11 wars, the bill comes closer to $6 trillion. Sanders and Lee, 2019. End footnote. This will reduce environmental destruction and free up resources for the Green New Deal. It is hard to calculate the total amount of resources devoted to the forever wars, as so much of the defense budget is hidden in other programs. The reported spending on defense is $716 billion, of which reported war spending is about 10%, say $72 billion. However, much more is hidden, and this figure does not include indirect costs, for example, treating veterans and their families. As military spending does not lead to production of output for civilian consumption, it is akin to transfer payments in terms of its inflationary impact. There is probably at least $1 trillion of unproductive military spending annually. In 2008, Joseph Stiglitz projected the cost of the Iraq War alone would run about $3 trillion. 2 years later, he argued that could be an underestimate. Stiglitz in Bilms, 2010. Footnote 18. They argue the opportunity costs probably add more. Quote, for instance, many have wondered aloud whether, absent the Iraq invasion, we would still be stuck in Afghanistan. And this is not the only what if worth contemplating. We might also ask, if not for the war in Iraq, would oil prices have risen so rapidly? Would the federal debt be so high? Would the economic crisis have been so severe? End quote. 9 years after that update, the forever wars continue. End footnote. Senator Rand Paul claims the war on terror has cost $6 trillion since 2001, or about $330 billion per year, Shane 2019. Senator Sanders has put the cost at $5 trillion already, with another trillion to be spent on health care for veterans over the future. While there are great uncertainties surrounding estimates of the resources that can be saved by ending the forever wars, we will use a conservative estimate that $210 billion of savings could be realized annually, perhaps 2/3 of the spending on the war on terror, in terms of wasted resources, or approximately 1% of GDP annually. We expect that the savings would be lower in the early years, but would gradually rise, probably significantly above 1% of GDP, as the longer-term costs of caring for veterans and their families would decline over time.